Tom and Ollie's Big Kids Club. Tom and Ollie's Big Kids Club. Tom and Ollie's Big Kids Club. Tom and Ollie's Big Kids Club.
Right, Tom. Alright. Welcome to Tom and Ollie's Big Kids Club.
We're old enough to know better.
And we're old enough to know better. Happy Halloween, everyone. As you can see, this is our Spooktacular edition. Hopefully it'll be out for Halloween.
I'm editing this one, so yeah, expect it next Halloween.
Should we turn these off? Otherwise, we're going to
Yeah,
have
let's get
epileptic
them off.
fits, I think Max is not enjoying them.
No, he's gone upstairs. Bless him.
So let's talk about Halloween.
Yeah.
The one thing about living in the UK is we don't really...
It's a shame, really, but we don't really celebrate it, do we?
Definitely more so now. So kids now have
sort of picked up on it, yeah.
Yeah, so if you go to Asda now, they've got flipping Ghostbusters suits in there. They've got all sorts.
Yeah.
None of that.
No, I mean, if you were to knock on a door at someone's house when we were growing up, you'd be looked at like a tramp.
Did you actually go trick or treating?
No, I wasn't allowed.
No, neither was I.
No. I don't think our neighbours wanted me knocking on their doors.
Stinking their houses out.
So I gave them a night off on Halloween. Stayed in and watched scary movies.
Yeah, so again, that's just the thing in living in the UK. It wasn't a thing until fairly recently. I remember when I was a kid though, and I really wanted to celebrate Halloween. I think Ghostbusters was like on TV.
Yeah.
So my mum made this
films.
Yeah, the first film.
Yeah.
My mum made this spread.
Yeah.
And I decked out in my Proton pack and everything. I was so excited to celebrate Halloween, watch Ghostbusters. My mum made all this Halloween themed food. And I think I fell asleep before the film even started. I was like that excited. All my adrenaline just went, and then I went, I went to bed. So I didn't enjoy any of the food my mum made. Didn't get to watch Ghostbusters.
So just fell asleep?
Fell asleep.
Sounds like a lot of the Halloweens I had as a teenager, where we used to go and get absolutely smashed out our heads and set fire to things. But
set fire to
yeah.
Is that what you do on bonfire?
No, well, I think we were leading up to it, but yeah. Me and David Jones.
Is this the one you stunk out of the room?
Stunk out the room with, yeah.
Old Stinky.
Old Stinky Pants. I'm waiting for him to actually watch one of these and leave a comment underneath. I might tag him in this one, Stinky Pants.
Did you ever dress up when you were a bit older? Did you ever do any?
Talk about me being a goth. I did my dressing up
24/7,
so yeah,
365 days.
It was my day for sitting in a pair of joggers.
Right, okay.
And staying in and watching films. I did go to a few club nights and stuff, but as a kid, as you say, you didn't really celebrate it. I remember the video shop around the corner from us. They had specials where you could do 3 videos for say I don't know, what was it, £3 or something, whatever denomination it was. But I'd look at the front covers because it was always the horror movies that had the painted front covers as well.
Yeah, they were back then.
They always looked like they were going to be the best film you've ever.
It's probably because a lot of them, they made the posters before they even made the film, so they're like, give us money and this is the film we'll make you.
This is what you
could do.
Always
ended up looking like cheap tat or whatever.
Because I remember seeing the first Evil Dead, the front cover to that with the green face.
Oh, the horror hag,
the horror hag on the front, and I remember renting that. I remember renting Pet Sematary.
Was the second one the one with Edward Furlong in it?
Oh God, I couldn't tell you.
I'm sure he's in the second one. I don't think I've seen the first one,
The first one is the same as the second one. I think more scary.
So the plot of Pet Sematary, if I remember, is it that?
Oh, we're talking Pet Sematary.
Yeah, I've not seen any of them. So is it that their pets
Oh, Edward Furlong. Do you mean the older chap?
So Edward Furlong was
the Munsters.
He was John Connor in Terminator.
Easy money.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure he's in the second one, but anyway, I haven't seen it. So
I've completely confused my stuff here, but I don't know why. I want to say the guy from the Munsters is in Pet Sematary. So I'm sure I might be completely wrong, and I'll correct myself here. He's just got that creepy vibe. But anyway, carry on. Sorry.
So Pet Sematary. What's the premise of that then? Is it
So this new family move into a new house. They've got a really young kid, and outside their house there's a really busy stretch of road. And long and short of it is basically their cat gets run over on the road. The creepy character, the older one, says we should bury him over here, and the cat comes back to life because it's like an Indian graveyard.
Oh, okay. So a bit of a poltergeist kind
Yeah,
of
it's nuts, man. And like the cat comes back to life, but it's changed. It's evil. It's obviously not the soul of the lovely cat. So the busy road, the kid gets run over, brutal. And like the parents are like, okay, so the cat came back. We're gonna bury the kid, and the kid's gonna come back. Okay. And the kid's just a little shit.
Oh, is it? Okay.
He's an evil.
Dressed up like a goth, setting fire to things.
yeah. But I think that some of my favourite bits of that movie, like obviously you've got the Ramones who were on the soundtrack to it.
Oh, nice.
So you've got the Pet Cemetery. I'm going to sing it to you this time. In a Pet Cemetery.
Okay. So they actually wrote the song for them.
Yeah. It's really good as well. And it's got like bits of the film in the music video.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's really good. And what else did I rent? Just like, as I said, the front covers, so House as well, where you've got the hand on the front.
Oh, I watched that for the first time the other day.
It's fucking genius.
It's a weird film, man. Like
that, I won't remember it at all, but it's that long since I've watched it. So I remember more about the front cover.
There's loads of flashbacks to the guy, the writer who's in Vietnam.
Okay,
and he leaves a friend to get captured or something like that.
Yeah.
And then somehow his aunt's house is haunted, she dies, she kills herself, or it was the ghosts or whatever that was in the house that made it kill herself. He takes over the house and he's trying to write his new novel, which he then writes about his time in Vietnam.
Right, that rings a bell.
And then you kind of, through some weird flashbacks, you kind of see his son in a swimming pool and he's like, his son's drowning, he goes to find his son, but his son's not in the water. So then you kind of think, oh, so is his son missing in the house? It doesn't really make it very clear.
Yeah.
And then he's buying he notices weird things happening in the house. So then he starts setting up cameras around the house.
Right, okay.
And he opens this closet and this monster thing comes out and... I know, he tries to get his son back from this like otherworldly area that the house is connected to. Then his friend who got captured and tortured comes back and he's got this mask on that if you watch it in HD you can see his mouth underneath it.
HD has ruined horror films.
Oh man, yeah, it shows all the strings and the sellotape.
Like, and there is no hiding that shit. I mean, if this was on like old tape, fucking
apparently
terrifying.
House 2 is meant to be really good. Well, better than the first one at least. But I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
It's good when the big fish on the wall comes alive and just shoots it with a gun.
There's another. I'm just having had a flashback to another film that I watched, like on that when I used to get the VHS from the video shop. The Serpent and the Rainbow.
I almost bought that with me today.
I just remembered it.
It's a great film.
Because it's actually truer to
Wes Craven?
I don't know, to be honest, but it's truer to life of how zombies are actually they've come about, aren't they? Because they drug them, don't they?
Yeah.
And then they come back. I love that film, man. And is there a genital torture bit in it as well?
There could be. I haven't seen it in a long time. I really need to burp. Sorry.
I'm eating his burping. It's Halloween.
Edit that out. Yeah, I used to. As I got older, I started to look forward to Halloween because I used to, go out and get pissed. We'd all dress up.
Yeah.
We'd go to the academy or subside or subculture, whatever it was.
Mm.
One year I dressed up as a Ghostbuster, naturally. Made a proper Ghostbuster suit, got a proper grey, the browny grey suit. Made this full-size proton pack out of cardboard, and I was well chuffed with it.
You still got it?
Then the next year I dressed up as Ash from The Evil Dead.
So what does he wear? It's like a denim shirt.
Well, it's like a blue shirt. I ripped it all up and just covered myself in blood.
So
and then
cut your arm off.
I got my belt and made like a thing. Made a fake boomstick. Had my fake gun.
Yeah.
And then made a chainsaw thing that I put my hand on.
See,
we'll put pictures on top.
Yeah.
And then the next year, me, my friend Mark Breeze, and my friend Nick Pearson, we were dressed up as Spinal Tap.
Brilliant.
And I was.
You took?
No, that was Nick. Nick was that guy. Yeah. And we actually did wrap the cucumber up in the tinfoil. I was Nigel Tufnell.
Brilliant.
And my sister sewed my jeans.
Wait there, Nigel Tufnell's the blonde one.
No, I think Nigel Tufnell's the one who has his rib cage.
The one up to 11? Yeah, okay.
David St. Hubbins is the one with the blonde hair.
Because he does my nut in that film. I think
he's supposed to be though. But Nigel Tufnell is the one who's like... He's like making the sandwich out of the little bread. That's my favourite scene.
See, it just doesn't fit.
You fold it, you keep folding it. Great, and I don't want this. Well,
Why don't you? Nah.
So yeah, painted like rib cages on my top, and my sister sewed me into my trousers, and I was that tight that I couldn't properly walk up the stairs. I had to like hop up the stairs. But I think that's the last time I've really like dressed up for Halloween, and that was probably about 10 years ago, maybe not. And our friend Isaac, randomly, he broke his hand, and he came around to my house, and we cobbled this costume together out of stuff that I had, and we made him into Gimli. From Lord of the Rings. So you've got these pictures of the 3 Spinal Tap members and Gimli.
Bless him. Let me grab a thing.
So what are some of your favourite horror films then? So
I'll tell you what, I'll start off with one that might be controversial, but it is a horror movie in my eyes.
Yeah.
Jaws?
This, if I was to say a top 10, is number 1.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Like, some people probably don't think of it as a horror film, because it's got a lot of action event. Well,
if you want to tell me that's not a horror film...
Oh, I think it is. I'm not saying it's not.
No, but if someone... Oh, with the mascot's coming. He likes Jaws as well. Come on, Jaws!
The lights are off.
You're just going to stand there, aren't you?
Right, anyway.
Right, so
Max is down.
ignore Max. So there's a scene in that, you know, where the dead body comes out of the hole in the boat.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was like...
That was a reshoot, I think, as well.
Was
He
it
added
a
that in for
reshoot?
an extra scare.
Because that absolutely terrified me. I remember it's like that Jurassic Park scene, you know, when the raptor jumps up and you move your legs.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was on par with that. So yeah, I absolutely
Spielberg,
love that.
though, innit?
Oh man, he's just killer.
Apparently Richard Dreyfuss recently said that they should CGI over the shark and make him look...
Not
I was
at
like, no,
all.
like a lot of people... Well, I think the people who make it complain that the shark looks fake, but to me, it looks awesome.
That meant that they didn't use the shark as much as well, which within the context of the film is so much better.
Just
because
seeing
it's your
the
imagination.
you know the film and
Yeah.
that music by John Williams, that like music that is that the music is the character. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like in The Dark Knight, the Joker's themes that like that rising like.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, the Joker's coming.
Yeah.
It's like you know that it's the cheapest effect in the whole world, because all it is like 2 notes, isn't it?
But it works, man, and if it works, go with it.
And
Have you ever been on the ride?
I have I went to the one in Florida.
I went to the one in Florida. I actually shit myself on the ride because I was like, so there's the fin. Where is it?
I know. Yeah.
And it because in Mallrats they get married on the ride at Jaws, don't they?
Oh, they do, don't
rides,
they?
Yeah. Sorry, carry on.
I really love the scene. It's the when you fully see him and he's like throwing the chum out the side.
One of the best scenes.
And then he just pops up, and then later on he's just full on eating.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
He's full on eating.
The
Quint
Quint fell
on
over here.
Quint just falls into him.
Yeah.
Being chewed alive.
You go down there, mate.
Did you ever see the sequels?
The one where the shark came back and it knew what it was doing and it was hunting the family.
Well, that was the 4th one.
Was that the 4th one?
So
I
I
think that's
it's-
hilarious.
I think it's Brody's wife. Well, she's Ellen Brody, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think she marries Michael Caine.
That's it.
And so they move away, and the shark just follows.
Follows them, yeah.
The second one is kind of more of the same.
Yeah.
I'd never seen it until earlier this year.
I've never seen the second one.
Me and my wife went to the pub, and she was telling me the story of Jaws 2. She's like, right, when we get home, we're going to watch Jaws 2.
Did she go, it's amazing?
No, she went through the story beat for beat and told me exactly what happened when we were having a drink.
so well.
She's obviously watched the second one a lot. And then she goes, I think it's on par, if not better than the first one. I was like, whoa.
Strong words.
And we got home and we watched it. And safe to say, I think I enjoyed her version of Jaws 2 when she was telling me the story more than I enjoyed it.
I've got friends who do that though, who like tell me the story of a film, like beat for beat, the whole thing, and it sounds amazing. I watch it, it's crap. Like I've had that before.
Jaws 3 is the one where they're in a water park and it's in 3D, but it's like proper 80s 3D, so it's not very good. But Jaws, the first one, is just
it's incredible.
It's just so good. I mean, just the 3 leads are fantastic in that film. How they
What's the name of the sailor in it?
What, Quint?
Quint, yes. like one of my all-time favourites is as well is where they're showing each other the scars. I know that's a big one for everyone.
Well, they've used it. They ripped that off for obviously more Chasing Amy.
Yes.
And Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
So yeah. So what's another one that you think?
Let me look over here because I've got a little list.
You got some here, haven't you?
I've got some here as well. I'll tell you what. Let's go in with a really strong contender that could have been my first.
Okay.
The Thing.
Oh, where is it? This would be my number 2 or my number 1, depending on which day.
That's mad. That is how that's
But this I love this film so much. I rented out a cinema for my stag do.
What?
And this is what we showed. Sadly, it wasn't this version, which is the Arrow version, which has been remastered.
I've only got the tin pot version somewhere around here. Where is it?
Tin pot.
Tin pot crap version. Oh no, I haven't even got it there. Somewhere about.
But, I mean, yeah, just talk about a film about paranoia.
Oh man,
and, like,
nails it. Fucking nails it.
And plus, it's got awesome monster effects in it.
Yeah.
What more can you want?
Kurt Russell, monster effects. Like, is it cell painting where like the backgrounds? You know when it pulls back and you see the spaceship.
Oh, the matte painting.
That's the word.
That's incredible.
That just sends chills down
my spine. If you watch the making
man.
of, they've got the old guy. He's probably passed away now. But,
Yeah.
but he was really old when they did the making of this, like 20 years ago.
Yeah, God.
And it's just him talking about his process of how he did it. I'm just there going, tell me more.
Tell me more. Yes.
Who's the other guy who's in it? He's in They Live as well. And his child.
I should have put that in.
What's his name? The actor, and he plays just voice Spawn.
Rowdy Roddy Piper.
No. What's his name?
Plays Spawn. Oh.
He's also the dad in Big
yeah.
Mary.
Do you mean the guy who's at the end? And
yeah,
they're both there sipping whiskey.
And they don't know if I.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of the character.
What's his name? I need to look.
His voice is amazing as well.
It is.
Because he plays Spawn in the animated series.
Yeah.
Doesn't he? Yeah.
What's his name? It's going to do my head in.
Here you go. Fact checking.
It is.
Well, it's not him.
No.
That's Saracen.
I forgot Wilford Brimley was in it.
Here he is. TK Carter.
No, that's not him. He's the one with the afro. Where is he?
God, he's turned into him though. It's like.
Oh Christ! What's his
He's
name?
aged. I'm cutting that bit out as well.
Where is this? You can speed through this bit. Where is it? Keith David.
Keith David.
He is awesome. And I didn't give him his due because I forgot his name, but I love Keith David. He's got one of the best. He's got one of the best voices.
It's incredible,
It's
isn't
like,
it?
just so imposing.
Yeah. I mean, like, because I was thinking about putting Spawn the animated series into this list. As well.
Right.
So he's got an honorary mention, and we've mentioned Spawn the animated series. So I don't have to do that now. What more can you say about the Thing? Because I think we're skipping over it, and I think
the effects by it's Rob Bottin.
Who did he work on American Werewolf in London?
I think he might have done it.
Because I know there's some sort of parallel between the two.
Can't say on the back, but I think he did because I think Rick Baker was going to do it, but I think he ended up doing was it The Howling instead.
That's it. Yes,
and
you're right.
He then recommended Rob Bottin to do American Werewolf, and then I think he then did.
That's
the
right.
Thing, or the other way around, but
yeah, it's vice versa. Or
but the thing, like, there's just a sequence when they're operating on the guy, and his
fuck.
chest opens up, bites the guy's arms off, and he's flailing around.
Like
then the head comes off, falls to the floor, legs sprout.
It's a head spider.
Yeah, he crawls away. A thing comes out of the guy's stomach.
Oh
and
man!
As Kurt Russell's like going, with his flame, he's like, "You gotta be shit." He sees this little thing crawling away. He's like,
that film just fills me full of joy. I know it's not meant to, but like everything about it, it's got practical effects. It's got that like.
It's got great acting.
It's in the snow as well.
Awesome music. It's got music by. Not only does it have John Carpenter doing his own music,
because I love John Carpenter's music.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, it's all John Carpenter.
Mental.
Have you heard his 2 albums?
Never owned any.
They're awesome. But anyway, so John Carpenter did the music for it, but also I can't pronounce his name. Is it Ennio Morricone? You know, the guy
I know exactly who you're
who
on
did the
about.
spaghetti western music and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and you got the great effects where the blood test,
Yeah.
and then they're all tied up, and then the one just starts vibrating. He just freaks the fuck out. Have you seen any of Lee Hardcastle's films?
I was just about to bring it up.
So Lee
because he did
Hardcastle's
the Pingu version.
he's an amazing stop motion animator from Leeds,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we're going to try and get him on this podcast one day.
That's if he wants to come
Yeah,
on.
obviously. But he's like famous for doing horror stop motion films.
Because I watched the Pingu one and like it's just a stroke of
So he did
genius.
Pingu, which could have been called Thingu. I don't know how.
Pingu is
But-
Pingu, isn't it?
It's so well done.
Yeah.
But then he got done by the people who made Pingu because they said they were like fucking around with their brand. So he remade it with the clay cat version, and he then started to do his own remakes of films with this clay cat. So that was his equivalent of Pingu, and he made this clay cat.
Right.
But it's essentially shot for shot of the Pingu one.
Did
but
John Carpenter see it though? I'm sure he did.
he may have done.
And
But
I'm sure he shared it. I'm sure I read somewhere online. 'cause
Well,
I
Lee
was-
Hardcastle did a music video for a band called Gunship.
Is that the one with the Nintendo?
It's where a guy shoves. He's got a cassette tape thing in his chest, and he'll grab like RoboCop and he'll shove it into his chest, and he'll
Yeah.
turn into RoboCop.
Right.
It's a wicked video. But John
I'll check that
Carpenter
out,
does the
man.
voiceover at the beginning for the song, and so they kind of have technically worked together. But also, he did another thing sequence where it was Frozen. You know the film Frozen, the Disney film Frozen,
Yeah.
and he did the the scene, the blood test scene.
Yeah.
So you've got, I think it's one of the girls from Frozen is like doing the blood test, and they've got all the other characters, including the donkey or whatever it is, or the
I can't say I've ever
mix,
watched
and they're all
Frozen.
strapped up, and he uses the dialogue from the thing, but it's all animated
Oh,
stop motion with Disney
I
characters.
think I might have seen
It's
something.
fucking genius.
Yeah.
So check that out.
I'll
Check
have
it
a
out
look.
if you can.
Yeah. In fact, we'll put links in the description
Yeah,
if any
yeah.
of you guys want to check any of this
Well,
stuff
hopefully we
out.
might put a clip over it, and if he tells us off, we'll take it off.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic. You should check out some of his other films. He's got like Ghost Burgers, another one.
Yeah.
And he's currently working on his feature film, and it's like an anthology film of like 10 films that are put together to make a feature, and it's called is it Ghost Train or Spook Train?
Go Spook Train.
Is it Spook Train? I've forgotten. But anyway,
Brain fart.
right, let's talk about some other films.
Let's go. Yeah, because I could talk about the thing. for ages,
I'm
man.
going to pick one. I'm going to say, let's have a look. I'm going to go for Dawn of the Dead next.
Right, I completely confused this earlier.
Yeah, so you've got Night of the Living Dead, which is the first one.
Yeah, Night of the Living
They're
Dead.
coming to get you, Barbara. Then you've got Dawn of the Dead,
Dawn of the Dead.
and then Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead. I thought that was Day of the Dead.
Yeah, and then obviously he did Land of the Dead, Diary of the Dead,
Land of the Dead and Diary of the Dead aren't very good, are they?
and then I think
No.
there's another one, Survival of the Dead. I may have made that
Because
one up.
Survival of the Dead, haven't they actually got like some sort of conscience?
I have no idea. I watched Land of the Dead, and after that I was like, I'm done now.
Yeah, I did.
But obviously the first one was the most groundbreaking because it was the first modern zombie horror.
Was
Yeah.
it the first zombie film you'd say ever?
There are like zombie films from the 50s and stuff like that, but they weren't like. They were more like, the kind of voodoo kind of esque zombies, which I think Zombie Flesh Eaters was, which I
Yeah.
think is supposed to be like
the answer to that.
sequel. No, Return of the Living Dead is a sequel. Is meant to be like a sequel to this, but it's not really.
Is that the more comedy one?
Yeah,
Where
but we'll get to that
yeah.
in a bit. So obviously, this one though was the one that kind of every zombie film now that's made, I think, uses this as like
As it's
the template. Do you know what I mean? This
Yeah.
is what they're all based on. So John Russo, who produced Night of the Living Dead, held the rights to the Living Dead title, whereas George Romero held the rights to make any sequel he pleased with the title of the Dead. So in 1977, I think, John Russo wrote a novel called Return of the Living Dead, which was a sequel to his book adaptation of Night of the Living Dead, the film which he produced. So in 1985, they then turned Return of the Living Dead into a movie, which I think Tobe Hooper was supposed to direct, but Dan O'Bannon then took over the helm and rewrote the screenplay, which is quite funny because Tobe Hooper decided to do Life Force instead of Return of the Living Dead, which Dan O'Bannon also wrote. And if you haven't seen Life Force, you should watch it. It's batshit crazy, but it's well worth a watch. It's got space vampires and all kinds of crazy shit, and a woman who walks around naked all the time. But yeah, anyway, the tone was a lot more comedic than Romero's and Russo's original envisioning of zombies, etc. And the series spawned its own set of sequels. So you have two franchises. You've got the Living Dead series and you've got the Dead series. And if you're confused, it's going to get even worse. So Dario Argento helped George Romero finance Dawn of the Dead, and because of that he got to have the European rights, I think, or at least the Italian rights. So he recut Dawn of the Dead and released it as Zombie, and then Zombie then became its own franchise. So in 1979 Zombie 2 came out, but it was released everywhere else as Zombie Flesh Eaters. So like most Italian films, the entire film was dubbed into English, so it was shot in English, dubbed into Italian, and then redubbed back into English for the English speaking market, which, you know, they did a lot of the spaghetti western movies and stuff like that, and, you know, a lot of the Dario Argento movies. But, you know, it's weird because it starred mostly English speaking actors. So Zombie 2 kind of harkens back to the original idea of zombies, you know, with the voodoo kind of thing, etc. Whereas the Romero films never really explained where the zombies came from. They just were, like, just there. I think actually in Return of the Living Dead they actually try and explain that, but I can't remember. Oh yeah, Zombie 2 also had a scene where a zombie fights a shark, and it was pretty rad. To confuse matters even more, there have been several remakes of the original Day of the Dead, and has had several spin-offs as well. In 2005 there was an unofficial sequel called Dawn of the Dead Contagion, and then in 2008 there was a Day of the Dead remake with Ving Rhames, who was also starred in the remake of Dawn of the Dead, but this time as a different character. And then there's Dawn of the Dead Bloodline, which came out in 2018, which is another remake. And also, not to forget, there was a remake of the original Night of the Living Dead by Tom Savini, who did all the special effects in Dawn of the Dead. Anyway, back to the pod.
It's just awesome. Like, so Tom Savini did all the special effects for this.
Right, okay.
So if you know who Tom Savini is,
Why do I know the name?
he's the guy in, I think he's called Sex Machine in Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, is that who he is?
That's him. So
I
he's
knew
an
he
actor.
was a special effects guy.
Yeah, so he's also in this. He's like he's the leader of the biker team that's storming the.
That's completely clicked, mate.
He storms into the mall at the end, and they have the big pie fight. There's a weird pie fight. But yeah, got some great zombies. You've got Flyboy who becomes a zombie. You've got the guy who gets his head chopped off by the propeller at the beginning. It's like proper.
I love these sort of films because I really love my post-apocalyptic, just bleak films, and this ticks all the boxes. And obviously they did the remake of this as well, because you were saying Zack Snyder?
Zack Snyder, yeah. Which a lot of people don't like because he made it, but I actually think it's good.
Because I've got to be honest with you, this was another one I got off the video aisle for £3 for £3, and I haven't watched it in ages, but I still remember loving it.
It's great. The music is amazing by Goblin.
Oh, it was by Goblin, wasn't it?
So the other thing with George Romero's films, they were always about something. So the first one was about racism.
Okay.
If you watch it, so obviously
there's one black guy in it.
Yeah, and it's all about that.
And he's in this as well, isn't it?
No, different.
Is it a different guy?
Different guy, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the guy with the big bug eyes.
You wouldn't say a different black guy then?
Yeah, he's in From Beyond as well, the Stuart Gordon film.
Okay, I've completely confused.
Where he has that weird, like, coming out his head. The guy from Reanimator has a weird, like, little penis tentacle when he comes out his head. But anyway,
I always thought it was the same guy from the first film.
I don't think it could be. I might be wrong, but
I'm sure it is.
No, because doesn't he get killed at the end of?
Yeah, but I'm sure it's like the Evil Dead. Like everyone gets killed in that.
Yeah, well, I don't know. But anyway, so that one's about racism. This one's kind of more about, like, you know, commercialism.
I was going to say,
so that's why they're caught up in a mall and stuff. And
what's the word for that? It's consumerism.
Consumerism. That's what I'm thinking of. And then the third one, I've totally forgotten what the theme of the third one is, but I'll put it.
I'll find out for you.
The third one was cool though, because you had Bubba, who was the zombie who could kind of
yes.
You listen to music.
So I know Bubba more because Mark Patton, myself and him, when we used to go out drinking, we'd go back and we'd watch that, and we'd always watch the scene where he's got the little headphones on. And Mark, he was always had his profile picture as Bubba. He loves that character.
Because Bubba shoots the guy at the end as well.
That's it.
But I think it's Flyboy Zombie who was kind of like almost the proto Bub, because he's kind of walking around with the gun in his hand still.
Yeah.
And there's that wicked scene where he comes out of the lift and he means business.
There's a scene in that as well where the guy gets torn apart.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Is it this one? Okay.
Not in Dawn of the Dead.
Day of the Dead. Yeah.
Day of the Dead, and he gets torn apart. It's one of the best.
And they're just fucking gouging.
Oh man, it's so good.
Yeah. There was that scene though in Day of the Dead as well where all the zombie arms burst through the wall, but I'm sure it's meant to be like a brick wall, but it just looks like paper.
It adds to it though, I think.
But again, so I think we talked about it, but the Goblin School. Have you seen Goblin?
I've seen Goblin. They played Supersonic. I'm pretty certain.
I mean, what would you class it as? It's kind of like
it's synth, isn't it?
70s synth.
70s synth. I don't know.
It's awesome.
What's the word for it? It's like cinematic synth.
Yeah, it's great.
Nah.
How old are they now? They must be getting on a bit.
They've got to be getting on, yeah. I don't remember seeing them. I was on a lot of medication at the time.
Right, but yeah, Dawn of the Dead, fucking rad. And then, as we said, the remake was actually surprisingly good.
Yeah.
A lot of people poo-poo
I thought it was great, man. And like I even said to you, was that?
It doesn't start off with It's got Down with the Sickness in it, but it's the Richard Cheese version.
Oh, fuck
so it's
yeah.
like a laid back swing crooner version.
Yeah. But there's I thought it was in the original, but it's not. Excuse me. In the remake, they have like a guy who's over in I think it's a pet shop over the road.
Yeah, end of the store.
And they're just chatting to each other via like messages.
Yeah.
And like the gradual scenes that
I like in that as well. They're like, I don't know if you ever do. If you're on the train, you think people look like famous people.
Yeah.
Like me and my friends used to say, "Oh, there's George Clooney over there." Once we did see a guy on the train that looked just like George Clooney. But in there, they've got like their sniper rifles, and so he's.
Oh yeah, of course.
So I'm not sure if he works in an ammo shop or if it's a pet shop, because I'm sure they're like holding up signs going George Clooney, and then all of a sudden.
They are, man. Yeah.
And then, but the only thing that is a bit ridiculous in that is when they get that truck, and
they do the montage.
They deck it all out,
yeah,
with chainsaws on the side.
I know you're in a mall, but you're not in like I don't know.
And then there's the zombie baby in
mall.
there as well, isn't there?
Oh, does she give birth
Isn't it
to him?
Mickey Fife? I can't pronounce his name.
Mickey
Fife. The guy's in ER.
Oh yeah,
He has a zombie baby, and then they have to kill the.
Yeah, because they go in and they look over the cotton.
Yeah. Grim.
Yeah, well, grim.
What's next? What's any others?
Shall I go for one off mine?
Yeah, go for it.
Tell you what,
It. Which version?
It's got to be the original.
It's a TV film.
I was about to
let
say,
you get away with it,
but they did it in a DVD box.
Hello, Georgie.
It's Tim Curry, isn't it?
Yeah, he's great. He's so camp that it kind of goes back on itself to being pure, just fucking horrible. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's because it was on another one that was in the video shop as well, and the front cover to it.
Is it like he's tearing away a bit of the...
Yeah, so you've got like a green clawy hand.
Oh yeah, he's got like the...
And it's 3 slashes here, and it's just got his fucking white and red hair coming out. And that film is why the majority of people I know have a fear of clowns.
I prefer the first half though, when it's the kids.
It goes
when it gets to the adults, and the one guy's got a ponytail and stuff. And then you've got the weird, stupid, like... He's not the spider, but he's like the
stop motion animation, like alien thing.
Yeah.
Because obviously in the book...
well, in the book, Pennywise is like this ancient old, like, evil god thing. I might be wrong. There's a lot of
no, you're right.
And then his main enemy is a giant fucking turtle.
That's it, and they have sex in the book as well.
Apparently, that's going to be in It Too. The turtle's going to be in it. I could be wrong by that, but they go in there. Yeah, in the book, when the kids go down into the sewer, because I've read the book.
Yeah.
They have like an orgy down there.
That's it, yeah.
And they're like 13 years old.
I've read that book, because the book's like this, isn't it, man? Like when I was really young.
He's got wicked ideas.
Goes off on one day.
But you can tell he does a lot of drugs, or did a lot of drugs, because they were just like, he just wouldn't stop writing, and it's like, stop writing, no.
Like Jack Kerouac on coffee, yeah. It's like, no, it's like, but going back to the film, there's just scenes that stay with you, and they have with me, like seeing when, like the sewer, and you've got the lake in front of the sewer, and you've got like the army guy,
Oh yeah.
I don't know why that stuck with me. Just so ghostly and weird, and just other things that go on it, and like the blood in the obviously in the sink.
Doesn't he come out the shower at one point? Isn't there like when he comes out the shower
as well? But yeah, I remember watching that, and it was. You've got to remember as well how old we were when we were watching this.
Well, I mean, it came out in like 1990, so we would have been
10. I would have been.
You wouldn't even been that.
No, I would have been 5. Sorry, 1990.
So I would have seen.
I've just put 10 years on myself.
I definitely saw it when I was around probably about 11. Because going back to the thing, I forgot to tell you, my parents were really cool and laid back, so wasn't allowed to go out trick or treating or anything like that. But I could watch any film I wanted to watch. So like I saw The Thing when I was 7. My dad was like, "I'm gonna sit down and watch The Thing."
Yeah.
You know, I watched RoboCop when I was 6.
Terminator was my first 18.
And obviously, like I'd go around to my friend Rob Kenyon's house, and his brothers were a lot older, and they had all the films. So when they were sitting down watching Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
In like 91, 92, we were sitting there watching it with them.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
You know, we were introduced to these films like really early, and also I think my parents knew that because I've got a love for film in terms of making it as well.
Yeah.
I knew that it wasn't real.
Yeah.
So I never got scared by them. I was more intrigued of like, I wonder how they did that. I want to know how they did that effect. So like, when I saw Nightmare on Elm Street, like.
Yeah.
I was just enthralled by it, like, you know, the scene where he's walking down the alleyway and his hands come out and they're like really long and he's just...
Robert England.
How did they do that?
Is it Robert England?
Yeah.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
But yeah,
It. Yeah, I'll just put that in there because I think a lot of people have been affected by that film. Like my missus Nat, she's terrified.
Is she scared of clowns as well?
To be honest with you, I'll be very honest with you here. We went to go and see the new one.
Yeah.
We went to go and see it in the IMAX, and you know how loud like the IMAX is. I thought I'd be fine.
You'd be fine.
So Nat was just watching it like this. She's going, oh yeah, okay. Clowns just jumped out of the screen, yeah, cool. I, on the other hand, was literally like clawing either side and just like this and having my popcorn over. I couldn't hack it. It was too visceral. It was like... I thought it was great. I thought it was brilliant what it did. I've watched it on the TV since. I think it's one of those ones that you have to watch at the cinema for it to have its full impact.
Yeah.
But yeah, the original for me is just good. It's just got a special place.
There's some famous people in that. So you've got Seth Green's one of their kids.
Is he?
Yeah.
Of course he is. Yeah.
And then you've also got, I think. What's his name? He's in Problem Child, Dad in Problem Child.
Yeah.
And he's in 8 Simple Rules.
Yeah, he was also in that one where they get sucked into the TV.
Stay tuned. What's his name?
We've mentioned that twice for doing one on that.
Yeah.
Was he in Home Improvement as well? No, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't in Home Improvement. But he plays the adult version of like the main kid Bill, I think.
And there's the other chap with the glasses who has the stutter. He's quite famous as well, is he?
Let's have a look. Let's see who's in it. Let's do a bit of research. Because you've got quite a good cast for the new one. You've got James McAvoy's Bill, I think. You've got Jessica Chastain, so... Because like, there's been a tit.
Don't press enter on that one.
I put tit instead of it, because I'm an idiot. Did you watch the Stand miniseries as well?
Yes, I did.
With
who plays
Gary
the main guy?
Gary Sinise.
Nice.
So let's have a look at the cast you've got. So obviously you've got Tim Curry.
Yeah, amazing.
John Ritter, who's I was trying to think of.
Yes, so that's the guy who,
Annette O'Toole's in it. I need to see their faces because then I'll know who. So yeah, you got Seth Green. I think one of the kid who played the young Bill, I think he may have died. I think he killed himself. Sad times.
Sad times.
Tim Reed, I've definitely seen him and stuff.
I thought he was in Ghostbusters then from that photo. Some of them went on to do nothing.
Guys, 3 hours and 12 minutes when you collect it all together.
Nuts.
Anyway.
Yeah, back to the the podcast.
So-
So yeah, I put it in there just purely for how much it scared me as a kid, like the memorable scenes, and I think it has caused a lot of people's fear of clowns.
Like my wife is petrified of clowns. We did watch it together once, and she the original miniseries, and she just every 5 seconds was
Yeah,
it's just when they're driving down the road and you just in the corner you just see him going, because obviously that's now spawned that craze of where people would just
Oh yeah, I've seen
randomly
that,
just
man.
pop up, even in Birmingham, just
Like
pop
with
up,
knives and like
just as
clown
a clown
outfit.
just waving at people, you're like,
Fuck
fuck
that.
that, no.
I think Isaac was
I'm gonna
saying
run you
to
over.
me. Isaac literally said to me, if I saw one, I'd just kick it. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, The Stand. We mentioned The Stand as well, which is another miniseries.
Which is another Stephen King one, and it is the one with the guy with blonde hair. Like
Yeah, he's meant to be Randall Flagg, and
That's it, Randall Flagg.
He's described as this skinny kind of guy with denim jacket on and black hair and like
Yeah.
gaunt features, and he looks like flipping
Yeah,
Randy
he looks
Roddy
like
Piper.
he does, doesn't he? He looks like an Adonis.
And I think he's meant to be technically the same character that The Dark Tower.
I was going to say because it is
It's meant to be that same character.
Because who played? I didn't like the new
Matthew
Dark Tower.
McConaughey.
I wasn't too into it.
I didn't watch it because that's all set in the King universe, isn't it?
Yeah, so it all shares a similar.
Yeah, and then you've got Castle Rock, which I think is a Stephen King-based TV show, which is kind of all set in the King universe as well.
Oh, nuts.
Right, what am I going to pick next? I'm going to pick one of my all-time favourites. I'm going to go for Evil Dead 2 out of this though.
Yeah, right.
Evil Dead 2 is just hard. Because in terms of splatter and just total stupidness, like, it's the
You
best
can't
one.
beat it, can you?
It is the best. Like, it's got great one-liners.
I was going to say the one-liners in it. Bruce Campbell's the man.
Yeah. Going from the first one though, I actually saw that at the cinema.
Right.
So,
Okay.
do you remember there was a cinema in the Arcadian? That you had to go up the stairs right to the top. There was like an Odeon or
It was
something.
the first cinema I ever went to with
Was
Mum
it?
and Dad. That was,
What
yeah.
did you go and see?
I can't remember what it was, man. I just remember it was the one we always went to.
Yeah, it's closed down. I don't know what's there now. I don't know, some nightclub or something.
Nightclub, yeah.
But yeah, so proper. Even though I'd seen it hundreds of times, well not hundreds of times, but a lot of times,
Yeah.
it properly scared me more than it did on the cinema than it ever did like at home or whatever, watching it on my small TV or whatever. Like,
Well, it's that thing about just being engulfed by the
Immersed
film.
by
It's-
the film,
Yeah, it's
yes.
like when I watched it.
but I think when I saw Evil Dead 2, that for me was like a revelation. Like, I'd never seen a film that was so violent and gory, but at the same time hysterically funny.
Yeah.
You know, you've got the scene where his hand gets possessed, so he chops off his own hand with a chainsaw, and then he puts it like a bin or whatever over the top of it, and then puts a load of heavy books on top of it, and the top book is Farewell to Arms. You know, what a
Yeah.
great little gag that is. And, you know, the hands running around swearing at him, and then when he shoots it, instead of like a little trickle of blood, just gallons of blood in his face. And you know, the first two were set in a cabin, pretty much nowhere
And
else.
they both sort of shared the same storyline, didn't they?
Kind of, yeah. I think with the second one they couldn't reuse footage from the first one to
Right.
recap it. So what they did was they just said, let's remake the first one for the first 5 minutes. So you
Right.
see him go with his girlfriend to the cabin. They get rid of the other characters, like his friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then she becomes possessed, so he kills her, chops her head off, buries her. She comes alive later on.
I love it when he tries to escape as well because is it the bridge that's like a hand?
Oh yeah, it's all curled
It
up.
looks really cool, man.
There's that also that wicked sequence where obviously he becomes possessed as well, doesn't he?
Yes.
And like he's like the way they filmed it, he's strapped to this thing that's spinning like.
Oh, it's
I
nuts.
think
Some of the
in real life
techniques
it's
they
spinning
use.
really slowly, and you think he was on it for a whole day, and then they speed it up, and he's like, and they're like smacking it with branches. Like Bruce Campbell goes through the ringer in this.
He
film.
does, man.
You know, like I said, it's all set in like one location, the cabin.
Yeah.
But they get them, and he's worked out of this cabin.
Were you saying that was actually put in a school?
Yeah, they
filmed
built it in a school. Like during the summer break, they like if you get this set or just you Wave Dead 2, there's a making of like a 2-hour making of documentary.
I'll have to check that
It's
out.
so good, and it, you know, it goes through all the stop motion, the
the creatures.
Because they had like particular steady cams and different cameras as well.
Yeah, but they're all made with like planks of wood, like DIY, like so the Ramo
It's the
camera.
best way.
They'd attach it to a pole and just smash it through a car window.
Yeah, because if you watch that and you think about the camera work involved, it's insane, isn't it?
It's genius. Like,
I mean, have you seen the remake of Evil Dead?
I haven't seen. You know, I've avoided it.
Can I tell you something? And I was surprised myself that I really
Did you?
loved it.
I will check it out. I do need to watch it. I know Bruce Campbell pops up at the end
Yeah.
after the credits and just says groovy.
Well, there's some sequences in that, like there's some chainsaw bits in it, and I don't know if I'm going to spoil this for you, but the main lead in it is a female.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And she plays it so well. I think she's awesome in it. It's never going to touch this man here,
Well,
but it's a completely different. It's a different thing.
Hey,
entirely.
is there any tree rape in it?
Yes, I'm sure there is actually.
Because the first one's definitely got tree rape. I don't know if the second one's considered
I can't
tree
remember
rape, but
what happens with the trees in the second one. Because the tree rape in the first one, I remember watching it and going, "Is that happening?"
Bobby Joe, the second one.
And it's like that. Yeah, the tree's raping her.
Yeah, in the first one.
It's like, what the fuck?
But yeah, like unlike other horror films where the main star is like Freddy Krueger or Jason or Michael Myers or Pinhead, the main star of this horror franchise is Bruce Campbell, who in the first one is like a normal dude with just a big coif of hair.
Yeah.
In the second one, he becomes this like because obviously it was made in the 80s where like catchphrases are all the things.
Oh
so,
man, and he's got a ton
you
in
know,
that.
give me
hasn't
some
he?
sugar, you know.
Yeah.
I know loads of other ones, but like
It could be anything, couldn't
Yeah.
it? Like pass the salt.
But again, it's got some great sequences, like when he starts to freak out, like all the ornaments in the house. So like a deer's head's laughing at him and stuff like that. And then you've got the horror hag that's played by Ted Raimi that comes out of the basement and
I think the
flying
first
around.
one.
And then the guy's got the big, huge neck that comes out like a big
Jesus,
snake,
yeah.
and he's like lobs it off with his chainsaw arm. Again, he fucking attaches a chainsaw to his arm.
It's it's cool as fuck, isn't it, man?
And then at the end, he like fights this giant, huge head.
Yeah,
He's just stabbed
stabs it to
And then he goes into medieval times. He goes back in time.
nuts, isn't it, man?
Did you like the third one?
I love the third one. Like the gore's not involved, is it?
No, I think they were trying to lower the rating or something.
So they're lowering the rate. But I remember watching a making of thing where it talks about there's a scene where he fights skeletons. I think it's like a sword fight. But it's like a very reminiscent of the very famous sword
Jason
fight.
the Argonauts, isn't it?
No, not the Jason the Argonauts one. It's on a set of steps and it's very classical.
Yeah, it's Jason the Argonauts.
No. Honestly, it's like a Robin Hood type thing. It's in black and white.
Oh, okay. So it's meant to be like the Errol Flynn.
Errol Flynn, that's
Got
it.
you.
Yeah.
But there definitely is Jason the Argonauts.
Oh, totally. Yeah, no, like the Jason. I can see that more now you've said it. To be honest, my reference isn't as good.
No, but you're probably right though with the sword.
I think
fights.
it was an homage.
Well, that's the kind of things that Sam Raimi was probably really into.
Yeah, so he's but he really got put through the mill. Like I've got so much respect for Bruce Campbell. 'Cause he's obviously not the best actor, and I don't mean that in a nasty way. But what he's done, he's like gritted his teeth and he's gone through the mill and he's made it to where he is.
Well, he's great in this film. He's great in another film called Bubba Hotep, which if you haven't seen it, check it out.
Which is awesome, man.
He plays Elvis Presley, who he's friends with a black guy who thinks he's JFK, and they fight a mummy. But
Do you need to say anything else?
And I wouldn't say it's the scariest film.
No, but
it's so earnest.
It's
Like,
really
it's
well
portrayed.
paced. It's really chilled out.
It's from the director of was it Phantasm? Yeah, Go with the Sphere. And he also did John Dies at the End, which is well worth a punt. Check that out.
I'll check that out.
But that film is great.
Awesome.
So if you want to see a great
Bruce
Campbell performance,
It's been a while since I watched it. I think I might rewatch that soon.
the series is good as well.
I've only seen the first one, which was directed by Sam Raimi. I think the others are directed by other people, but I've heard really good things, but I didn't ever bother watching it.
It's well worth the watch. It's good. I mean, they're only half-hour episodes, so it's not like a massive commitment.
No, I mean, I think I'm going to borrow that off you because
I'll lend you.
originally it was only on a streaming platform where the only good thing that was on it was, I think,
But yeah, it got cancelled, but it ended in quite a good place. So.
Okay, yeah.
So
you won't feel like let down by watching them all, and
I don't think so. I think it ends in a really good spot. Like, and I think Evil Dead works well in that, where it's like, oh well, what the hell happens next? So like Evil Dead 3, depending on which version you watch. So you've either got Army of Darkness ends that he wakes up and he's drank too much of the sleeping juice.
right.
And he wakes up in like London in
I don't think
after a
I've seen that.
post-apocalyptic kind of thing, and the world's destroyed.
Yeah.
He's like, no! Or you've got the other ending, which is called the S-Smart ending, where he goes, "Hail to the King, baby." That famous line.
Yeah, that's the one I remember.
Where he's working back in his, like a Kmart, but it's called S-Mart shop.
Yeah.
And a deadite comes through him and he like blows the head off. Which I'm guessing is the ending they've used
To go on to the series.
But it's just showing that the deadites are still around and he's still got his metal arm and his boomstick and he's still
Still kicking ass, taking names.
Chewing gum. He's a loud bum gum. So yeah, the one thing I love about Bruce Campbell is that obviously he's in the Spider-Man trilogy as well.
Yeah, because he pops up, what is it, he's a waiter in the one, he's the doorman in another.
Yeah, and then he's the ring announcer.
The ring announcer.
But apparently, this could be wrong, but in the fourth one, he was going to turn out to be the same person in all 3 films.
Right.
And he was going to be Mysterio.
Oh, fucking nuts.
So he's... Because if you watch it, he's the only person who thwarts Spider-Man in those films, so like...
What, he's a bit nonplussed?
Well, no, like, so he tries to get into the play to see Mary Jane the play.
Yeah.
But he sends him away. That's his only one who defeats him.
Yeah. Ah, yes.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting factoid.
There you go. But it could be wrong. So,
shall I go on to my next one?
yeah, go on, what are you going to pick?
This guy. Well, not this guy. Hellraiser. Obviously, he's one of the Cenobites. I won't go into the story and everything because my brain isn't...
Well, I haven't seen it.
You haven't
You
seen
can give
it.
it, like... Just...
I'll give you a general description. So basically, this little box here is a puzzle box, and once you open it, it opens up and the Cenobites come out.
So can anyone find these, or what? How do they find them? How do people find them?
Well, people have been travelling the world. Like it's a massive sort of. There is a world to Hellraiser. It's like I prefer the first and the second films. Like 'cause not everything's.
It's like with all horror films, though, they all kind of get a bit cheaper and a bit.
Yeah, like the third one, you've got like people shooting CDs out their neck and like a guy with a fucking camera for an eye because he was a cameraman.
They all go a bit like that. Like even though I actually like the third, I think it's the third Nightmare on Elm Street, where they're in like a psychiatric.
It's not the one where he's in a
ward.
computer game.
I don't know if it's a computer game, but he definitely turns into a stop motion character and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's inventive and fun, but it's totally like lost all the horror.
Oh, completely.
aspect
Yeah,
that it
but
has.
I think in a kind of a nice way. With some horror films, they know what they are. Do you know what I mean? So they become self-aware.
Well, like I said, they become
it's like
stars.
Skynet or something.
Well, they become like the reason why they're scary in the first ones because they use very minimal,
Yeah.
and they just come out to fuck you up every now and again. It's like Jaws. Once you start showing the shark too much,
Oh yeah, there's no mystery.
and I'm guessing
there's no...
with this, like
Yeah,
they
exactly.
the lighting's probably like originally they were darker lit. And
I'm
stuff,
just
so
so
they're like,
surprised you haven't seen the Hellraisers because the first two, the effects in it you
I
love.
will watch it.
I swear to God, you absolutely adore them. Like the first one's so dark. Obviously, you've got the kinky element because it's a Clive Barker film.
Oh yeah, Clive Barker's very kinky.
He's into his S&M, and I
Yeah.
mean, you can tell by the way this guy looks. Like he's they're into pain. Like there's a quote in it.
So there's a heavy bondage.
Heavy bondage vibes. Like, oh God, it's so. I'm trying to remember the films
I'm just
now.
picturing a 14-year-old Tom Wagstaff sitting in his
Fuck
black
you.
room watching this
It's
now.
like this. I just heavily recommend them. I mean, like, they get really stupid. Like, there's one that's in space with Hellraiser.
A bit like they did with Jason.
Yeah.
Jason X is in space.
Yeah. Well, basically, they did one called Bloodlines because the box obviously had to be made, and it's about the toy maker who makes the box. Originally makes it and how the
So the normal
Cenobites
human
make
makes the box.
Normal human.
So
makes
how
the
does it
box.
become possessed with?
They do all this devil worship and this is like a newer film,
So it kind of ruins.
it
the
kind of
mystic.
ruins it for me, to
If you
be
explain
honest.
it too much, it's like
Yeah, like whereas when you open the box, these get unleashed. It's like, oh, that's fucking cool, man. But in the first Hellraiser...
Is he the only one in the first one then?
No, you've got him, you've got Butterball, I think his name is.
Is he a fat
one, yeah. And then you've got like this one who's got like an open neck and a teeth.
So were they in it as much as him?
Yeah. Whenever he gets called, he's the most famous one. I mean, look at him, he's cool as fuck. But it's not really about them, the first one. It's more of a love story between... I've forgotten the two names. But they bring this one guy back from the dead who's like a child abuser and loves... Like, not a child abuser, what's the word for it? He's just like a really sick, twisted guy.
Right.
And like, the main character in it, the girl, her stepmom has an affair with this chap who tries to find this box. I can't remember his name now. He finds the box and gets pulled into hell. She brings him back by offering sacrifices of men. It's really weird. You need to. I can't describe it. Just watch it. Man.
I will watch it.
It's fucking nice. But yeah, one of my top ones would be Hellraiser.
Cool. So I'm going to pick one that I think's on both of our lists, and that is Alien.
Fuck yeah.
I think it was Ridley Scott's second film.
I'd love to have made that as my
and I think he did it as a reaction to Star Wars. He wanted to do something with set in space.
And man, he owned it.
Yeah. Like, I think it was written by Dan O'Bannon, who ended up directing Return of the Living Dead.
Oh, right.
I think Dan O'Bannon also wrote a draft of Blade Runner, I believe. But I think his idea was totally, like, taken from him and someone else took over, like, basically. So I don't think Dan O'Bannon was very happy about that.
At what point did the artist get involved, H.R. Geiger?
I think very early on, I think Dan O'Bannon even suggested to get him on board.
Because his artwork makes...
Well, I think he'd already pretty much designed the alien. I think they saw this design that he did.
Yeah, because I thought that was the
alien.
case. Because have you ever seen the bar of H.R. Geiger's in Germany?
The bar? No.
He's got a bar over there.
I wouldn't want to go in there.
No, apparently now it's like a crack haven. I don't even know if it still exists. But
he's passed away now, hasn't he?
I think he has passed
Very
away.
recently.
Yeah. But his artwork is incredible, and being like a teenage goth, I had...
You love seeing all those dicks going into vaginas.
Well, that was it. Do you know what? That was on the Dead Kennedys. That was a pull-out poster.
Was it?
On a 7-incher. So, yeah, going back to Alien, it was claustrophobic.
Well, it was like a haunted house, but with an alien instead, because it's just this creeping fear that was constantly going to pop out at you. You didn't know where, because it was dark in the crevices, and every now and again you just saw this tail curl around.
Yeah, man. Because there's the scene where I think the cat goes in somewhere, and the chain's just going like
Jones,
this.
The cat?
I think Jones. Yeah, it's Jones. And because obviously he goes in the cryo chamber with it.
Yeah.
And you got the chain going like this, and this one of the crew members, the older guy, and he turns around and the fucking alien comes down like this. Matt, I remember seeing that when I was really young yet again, and I think it was the next door neighbour that lent it at me, and it was a game changer, man.
I think I saw the second one first.
I saw the first one first, but the second one was my favourite for a long time because it's got more guns, got Marines in.
I love the fact that Vasquez's gun is on a Steadicam rig.
That's
what it's on.
Yeah.
But so you're going back to the first one. So you've got the amazing scene where they go on to, is it LV-17?
LV-17, something like that.
Something
yeah.
like that. And then obviously they walk through. They see the space shop. Well, they go inside the ship first, don't they?
Yeah. You see the ship from the outside. Yeah, and you see all the particles of dust.
I'm guessing that was a matte painting.
And it's beautiful as well. Yeah.
I don't know. And then they go inside and they've got the space jockey, and then obviously you see all the
and you used to think, what the fuck was this space jockey?
Yeah, let's not go there. Fuck off, Prometheus. Fuck off. Go away.
Go away, yeah. Done. That's that bit done.
But yeah, with that moment, they're like... latches on to John... Is it John Hurt's face?
John Hurt's face.
Yeah, and then they...
Who I think's got the weirdest looking face. Looks like rubbers to me. He already looks like a mask.
But yeah, it starts to eat away at him, so they obviously put him in, like, quarantine, don't they?
Yeah.
Drops off, and then he's fine, and
then the most amazing scene ever, which is like had some really good.
It's one of the most iconic scenes.
Like Spaceballs, where they have the dancing alien, which is incredible.
Even Ninja Turtles ripped it off with the episode with pizzas on the pizza alien
Turtley.
Yeah. Just some great stuff. And then at the end when she fights it and it goes through the air.
Oh man, so good. Yeah. And then obviously you've got the
android as well. I always forget about
because in the game, we could go into the game. So the new one, I've only just started playing, and they've nailed that atmosphere as well.
they?
Really nailed it, and like the androids play a massive part. They're more the bad guy because there's obviously only one alien.
What's the android in the first one?
Don't know, but it's Bilbo, isn't he?
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it? Let's have a look. So obviously the second one is Lance Hendrickson, which is supposed to be based on Wayland.
Wayland, yeah, because you find that out in the third one.
Yeah.
Which is also a great film.
It's actually really underrated. John Hurt is Kane. Oh, Harry Dean Stanton's in the first one.
Yeah.
He's one of my favourite actors. Have you ever seen Paris, Texas?
No, but I've seen Repo Man.
Oh yeah.
Which is awesome, and that's what got me into Harry Dean Stanfield. Stanfield.
Ian Holm, that's his name.
Ian Holm.
And he's Ash.
Yes, that's it. But have you seen
we should have known that just talking about that.
Should have really. Have you seen the new Harry Dean Stanton film?
The one that's just come out?
Lucky.
It's meant to be really good.
I cried at it.
Did you? I need to check
so good.
I heard there's loads of just conversations in a diner and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, and there's like just a scene where I won't spoil it for you, man. Just go and watch it.
Have you seen Paris, Texas?
No.
Please watch it, man.
Okay, you watch that. I'll watch that, and we'll
Alright,
talk about it next time. Man.
Well, they're not really big kids.
Well, I think the Big Kids Club is just
encompassing
everything
that we like.
Pop culture, really.
Okay.
So,
but I mean, it totally knocked it up a gear with the second one, like it. You know.
Yeah, and it's.
But it's got some great themes because in the second one, obviously she's been in cryosleep for so long that her daughter's died. I think.
Oh man, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, and then obviously Newt
in.
becomes her surrogate daughter essentially.
Yeah. You know, she holds the doll's head, and there's a little scene that where she's holding Newt, and she looks in the doll's head, and she goes, "Look, there's no bad thoughts in there." And she goes, "That's because it's a doll."
Yeah,
and it's like you can see that child has had her childhood ripped away from her.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's amazing, and she's got that little nest.
So there are little subtleties in that, but it's amidst James Cameron's fucking big guys.
But James Cameron, man, what can you say? Like he's done. That was the way to go with that, I think. After the first one, you can't remake.
You can't beat that first one, so there's no point. You've got to do something totally different.
And like,
and he did, so fair play to him.
Dude, the Loda scene in it where she fights the Queen alien.
Step up here from her, you bitch.
But like, have you seen how they did that? It's actually a suit. So there's a guy inside that Loda.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, I think there's
with a pup, with like a miniature.
I think there's a. Is there a guy in it, or does she wear the whole thing?
I'm surprised there's a little kid or something.
No, man. But like, I remember
the tricks they used to do. Some of them are questionable.
Nuts, man. Absolutely nuts. And like when you see how they did the aliens, and they were like spraying like water on them, so because obviously they're dripping and everything. It's an actual feat of genius.
And also, the alien design's different in the first one to Aliens, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So, I think their heads are quite clear. Like they're almost clear. Or a different colour in the first one. And in the second they're almost like plates, like solid.
Well, that was because he wanted to play with the light. I remember watching making of, and obviously there's more of them. And I mean, like, it is a logical thing to do, is it? Oh, he's dropped his
box. I don't know why it's going to get us.
No, they're going to come now. Clive Barker would like that. But what was I going to say? So the first one, you've got one alien. Then the next one's called Aliens, and there's shitloads of them. I think that's...
And there's Alien 3, isn't it? It's not Aliens 3, it's Alien 3, so there's just one. But I don't know if we mentioned that, but I like the fact that the aliens take on the
characteristics.
So whatever so it's a dog alien. Then there's a predator.
Which is shit.
And then... What's the in Resurrection? Is it like a human alien hybrid?
It sucks and it calls her mommy pretty much. And then gets sucked out.
Sounds a bit like going back to Ninja Turtles. Mommy. Going back to our very first episode.
Yeah. Call back.
Mama. Alien, if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favour.
watch it.
And where have you been?
And also, like, there's a director's cut of that one, and there's a director's cut of
The director's
Alien.
cut of Aliens is really worth a watch.
Definitely.
Yeah, man.
It's like got almost like 15 minutes worth of.
Yeah.
But
Did you see Newt's mum and dad in the extended cut? Don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a director's cut of Alien 3 as well. I remember Rob Kenyon's birthday, and it was probably his 8th birthday, and we went to see Flintstones for his birthday.
Which Flintstones?
Flintstones, the first one with John Goodman.
That's all right.
And for his birthday, I bought him Alien, the director's cut on video, and a Nerf gun, and I wrapped it up and made it look like the Flintstones car.
Made it look like the what?
Flintstones car, because we're going to watch the Flintstones. Right, what are you going to pick next?
Right. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Ah, okay. It's been a while since I've watched this.
It has for me, and the reason being, it's fucking terrifying.
It is. And there's hardly any blood in it.
There's hardly any blood in it.
In fact, I don't think there is any.
I think you might
dry
be
blood
right.
and stuff, but there's...
I think if we're going to do a Halloween episode and we're talking about horror, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, obviously it's based on Ed Gein.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember watching it for the first time? The soundtrack?
Yeah.
And how you felt? Because I watched it on my own and I literally just didn't sleep. It's not like we live in like Hickville. We're not rednecks. We're not in America, so I wasn't imagining like I was going to get attacked by these rednecks. But there's something really unsettling about it, and it says based on a true story. So I actually, because obviously it's embellished and it's not. Ed Gein was one guy and he was in a shack. Do you know what I mean? So that's as far as the influence went, and the skin on the lampshades and the rest of it. Like, so yeah, I just remember it being so unsettling. My wife Natalie won't watch it. I tried to make her watch it last night. We ended up watching some Hammer horror instead.
It's that the 70s. There was just an era of those films like Halloween and Texas Chainsaw.
I think Texas Chainsaw is so.
When was Exorcist? Was that was 70s as well, wasn't it? That was early 70s.
That was 70s as well, I think. Yeah.
There's just something about that era of horror films.
And if we're gonna do that as well, The Omen.
Yeah, and The Omen as well.
Yeah.
Like they've just got this air about them that's
something horrible.
I mean, Omen's a bit different because it's got Gregory Peck in it, who was a famous actor from a long time ago.
Yeah.
Whereas Texas Chainsaw Massacre doesn't have anybody you know in it, so when you're watching it, anyone's up for grabs in that. You don't
literally anyone's up for grabs because
Exactly.
when she gets grabbed by Leatherface and put on a hook, oh man!
But it just because they did a remake of it recently, which wasn't bad, but it still loses that.
Yeah, because there's no imagination there. Like I was there with them. The guy in the wheelchair as well. Like he's a brilliant. I love that character. And when they pick up the hitchhiker on the road, and he's just there, and then he starts cutting his arm or his leg or something. They throw him out, and you see the bus drive off, and it's a really like wide shot, and it's just the bus travels.
Proper 70s wide.
Yeah, man, it looks beautiful. Can't say, just great.
But like, I wouldn't say recently. This film's probably about 15 years old now. But like the Wrong Turn films, they tried to do like a more modern version of
Wrong Turn films.
They're very similar to like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They're like these like mutated hicks that are like chasing them around like the woods and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't get it. It doesn't have the same that dirtiness of the 70s. Do you know what I mean?
Hills Have Eyes. Do you remember that?
The which one?
The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Is that
that's
Wes Craven? No.
That's Wes Craven.
Yeah, it just doesn't have that feel to it. That visceral kind of just like.
For me, horror will always be there.
Yeah.
Like there's a few that have fucked me up recently. In fact, can I go on to another one?
Sure. Oh yeah, it's that one.
I'm going to go on to that one because this, if you've not seen it, don't watch the dubbed version and don't watch the remake. Watch the original. This is the original, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the original.
Yeah, it is. It's French. It's how would you describe it?
That's the one reason why I didn't want to speak about it because I don't know how. I didn't know how to describe it.
I don't think we talk about the actual plot to it.
No, because you've got to.
I won't talk about the ending. I won't talk about the plot.
Just watch it.
Just watch it. It's.
We said what it's called. Just outright Martyrs.
Martyrs. So like, I'd say that's one of my favourite films ever made.
Really?
Honestly. It was a pal of mine, Jeff Smith, who got me onto that, and he kept nagging me going, you ain't seen it yet.
It's
You
not
ain't
an
seen
easy
it."
watch.
And we watched it together. We were both drunk, and it's not an easy watch. So if you've got a bit of a tickled stomach and you're not into your head mashy films, don't watch that.
While we're talking about foreign horror films, we may as well mention this. You've seen this one, Let the Right One In?
No.
About the child, like...
No, but I was doing a bit of research
Vampire.
for today, looking at top 10 lists on YouTube, and I was just, this popped up and I was like, that looks quite interesting. Apparently there's a scene with some cats.
I think so, but again, I haven't seen it in about nearly 10 years. But do you know when a film just stays with you and you just know that you loved it, even if you've forgotten kind of...
Oh, it's a feeling.
Sometimes I like that,
yeah.
because when you watch it again, it's like watching it for the first time again.
Yeah.
But from what I remember, it's about a young vampire girl who's kind of got like, you know, like how a vampire have a familiar, or
Yeah.
so she has a human that looks after her, and he kills people so she can drink the blood and stuff like that.
Nuts, man.
And a young boy who lives across the road, like, I'm probably fucking this, butchering the plot, but he witnesses it and befriends the little girl, but then you find out, is it a little girl? Who knows? So they did a remake as well called Let Me In. Because obviously it's called Let the Right One In, because obviously with vampires you can't go into a room
unless you're invited
and stuff like that.
So what country is this from?
Oh god, it is...
Is it Swedish?
Scandinavian, yeah, Swedish. And again, like we were speaking on another pod, I love things set in the snow.
That's why I love the Thing. Not why I love the Thing, but like, yeah.
There's something about the snow, it's just bleak, isn't it? Because it's
cold,
just white.
bleak.
And, it's just very scenic and cinematic.
And when blood hits snow,
because
dude.
it's bright white with red blood on it. It just,
oh man!
It's just
I mean, what's the vampire film as well? 100 Days a Night.
Is it 40?
40 Days of Night.
Is it 40? Yeah, based on the comic book.
Yeah, just when you said the snow
Is it 40
thing.
What? My mind's gone.
I think it's 40 Days of Night, but it's based on a comic book, is it?
I've met the artist actually, Ben Templesmith.
Because I think that looks really good. It looks better than it is.
No.
You know.
There's 40 Days and 40 Nights, which actually stars Josh Hartnett in it. But it's not that film. What is it? It's not that one. Josh Hartnett. We look like right twats now. It's
Don't we?
30 Days of Night.
30.
What an actor to basically star in 2 films with this.
Yeah. So he only stars in films with 30 or 90.
The only problem with that film was though, because it's set in Alaska.
Yeah.
Why didn't they film it in Alaska? They shot it in New Zealand where there's no snow, so all the snow's fake in it.
That makes no sense.
So
whatsoever.
probably like budgetary reasons, but I actually enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And I like Ben. Oh fuck, what's his name? Ben Foster. He's like an actor who really he's quite intense.
He seems like a classical actor.
And he plays the
main vampire.
No, he played that's Danny Houston, but. No, he plays the guy who wants to be a vampire and he gets locked up at the beginning. He's got like long hair. Right. So he's almost like the familiar. He wants to become a vampire.
Yes.
So obviously we were just talking about 70s.
And I think if we're going to do that, we've got to
mention Exorcist.
Which is a head turner of the film.
Literally.
I've just wanted to mention The Exorcist just to say that.
Just a spewing sit.
It's fucking incredible, man.
Like I'm going to be honest now. It's a film that I haven't seen in probably nearly 20 years, so my memory of it is really fuzzy.
Your mother sex cacks in hell. Just that alone to be in a film. That there's some sound bites in there that are incredible. Like I've forgotten the name of the actors in it, but obviously
Is this Spacek? No.
This is Spacek.
Is it? Is it the one from Carrie? No. That's a wicked horror film.
That is a good. See, the more you think about the horror,
it's all the 70s.
It's all the 70s stuff, man.
It's the 70s and early 80s, I think. Oh, Linda Blair, that's who I'm thinking.
Linda Blair.
Sissy Spacek is in the one that's in Carrie, isn't she?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And John Travolta's in Carrie, which I always forget.
What?
Sure he is.
Fact checking.
John Travolta, Sissy's
What
face
was
there.
he doing in it?
He was like the boyfriend.
He was the period. That's what he was.
I don't even know how that works, but whatever.
No, it's not that. I don't.
So yeah, 70s was great.
Yeah, it was. Sorry, I got the giggles there.
But you also had like real schlocky, even like Driller Killer and stuff like that. I don't know if that was more 80s or whatever, but
I like the band in Driller Killer.
oh yeah.
Love the band in that.
Not quite 80s, not 70s, but 80s.
Oh,
It's in here, but
is that 80s?
I'm pretty sure it's like 1980.
And if you're going to talk about film and a master of it, you've got to put the.
Yeah, The Shining. I forgot what year. I'm sure it's 1980.
Nuts.
Which, when it came out in the UK, they actually cut it by like 15 minutes. So the version that's out in America is different to the UK version. So it's shorter. But the shorter version is Kubrick's preferred version.
Okay.
But I absolutely love The Shining.
There's so much to read into. Like, there's layers upon layers. I mean, you can go on to any YouTube channel, type in like The Shining, and like you can see the stuff. Like you've got.
Well, there's a whole film made about it, a documentary. Cool. Was it Room 2? What's the room in it? Anyway, the room.
Yeah.
the room.
The room. Yeah.
2372.
I can't remember, man.
But someone's made a documentary called that, and it's all about how all the theories about it. So
Yeah.
the whole film's about him faking the moon landing and stuff like that. Because Danny, the little boy, is running around with like an Apollo.
Yeah, there's some nuts theories.
Something to do with
man.
the carpet.
Some of them ring really true though. Like, like
I mean, it's true that he's a very meticulous
meticulous.
filmmaker. Like, you know, he'd take like millions of reference photos before he even did a film of like the locations where he's going to film, the areas and stuff like that. But
so in the film, you know, you've got the scene that really terrified me was the bath.
oh yeah,
And then you've got the old woman in it because
which they use. Have you seen Ready Player One yet?
No, I've still not seen it.
Okay. Well,
Is it in that?
well, but you know, have you read the book of Ready Player One?
No.
So in the book of Ready Player One, they play Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I think it's Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah.
And they have to. No, it's War Games. Sorry, they play War Games.
What film?
I'm sorry, I got confused with Matthew Broderick films then. So they have to play War Games, like.
Yeah.
So he has to do motion for motion of what he does in that. So what they do instead in this version is they do The Shining instead.
Fucking hell.
So they
Wanna play
recreate The Shining and loads of famous scenes from The Shining.
I'm nuts, man.
It's
stopped.
not a good film, but
Not the hotel from the film, but where the book was written and the series, because there was a series of
miniseries one,
the miniseries. I've stopped
which was
in that.
directed, I think, by Stephen King.
Yeah, because I stopped in the hotel. It's in the Rocky Mountains, and there is definitely a vibe about the place.
Is there?
There's a real vibe about it, man. And they've still got the model of the house that they built for the film there.
The film or the
The mini-series is like a model that they used. But it's incredible to go there and like sort of think about the headspace Stephen King was in, probably hard drugs. But it was a really cool place to go. And when we went there, I walked through the bar, obviously where he talks.
Just to point out, we've mentioned quite a few of his films that are based on his books. So it just shows how much he's like.
Oh man, like when I think about like Pet Sematary. So what else have you got? You got It.
Yeah.
You've got this.
There was another one, wasn't there?
I think there is another one. I mean, when you think about horror, I do think about Stephen King. You know.
Yeah.
I think he's.
I mean, I was going to talk about this, so I may as well mention it now. For The Mist, I love The Mist.
I've not seen it, man. But when you said The Mist, I was thinking about The Fog. Yeah.
But have you seen the behind the scenes of the making of The Shining and what Jack Nicholson was like? We have to incorporate the scene over the top of this.
Okay.
But how he's got the axe and he's like, you know, the bit before he busts the door down.
I've seen
he's
that.
like preparing for it, and what's the
And
name?
she looks terrified.
She's like,
she nearly had a mental breakdown on that.
like
didn't she?
Kubrick, like
torture.
I don't know if he was doing it on purpose to to get her into character, but like he fucking was horrible to. Was maybe on purpose. Or
I think it would have been on purpose.
Just being that kind of a director.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like swinging the axe. If I was on that set, I'd be like,
I'm off.
yeah, see you later. It seemed like a very intense.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he hardly. You know, after he did The Shining, it was another 7 years until he made Full Metal Jacket, and then after that, it was almost like 12 years that he made. So he was very particular about what films he made. So obviously, he put all of his effort.
Oh man, like, because one of my favourite films of all time as well is A Clockwork Orange. I absolutely love that film.
No, it's a great film. It's not one of my favourites of his, but
Really?
no. I mean, I'm a big 2001 fan.
See, I'm not as arsed. And I know it's incredible.
Barry Lyndon's good as well.
Barry Lyndon, I've not seen that. I've got this box. I don't think
Have you?
I've
Check it out.
He did Lolita as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Is that on
He
there?
also did like some Sword and Sandals films. I'm sure he did like
Sword and Sandals.
Yeah, so he did Spartacus. I think he did Spartacus.
Oh, I see what
with
you're saying.
Kirk Douglas and stuff like that. So there's films he like. I think from Lolita onwards, these are classed as his like auteur films.
Film. Oh, of course, because he did some films that he co-directed, or there was a producer involved.
Yeah, back then sometimes producers were the main force.
That's it, and he was never happy
But
with
then
it.
he became the Stanley Kubrick that we know and love now. Well, some people don't like him because he's quite a cold, cynical filmmaker.
I love him.
Yeah, he's great.
I think he's great.
I mean, the hedge, the maze scene is fucking amazing in that film as well.
Yeah. I mean, there's loads of memes with that where Jack Nicholson's frozen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Especially living in the UK when it gets cold in the winter.
Yeah, you see loads of them.
But have you not seen? You haven't seen The Mist?
No.
So it's based on one of his short stories,
Okay.
and basically this fog takes over this town, and a bunch of people just haul up, a bit like Dawn of the Dead, but inside of a
Is this
convenience store.
straight to DVD sort of?
No, this was a cinema release.
It's a cinema release.
Yeah. It's by Frank Darabont, who did obviously arguably like two of the best King adaptations. So he did Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile.
Fuck. Can I borrow that?
If you want.
Is that right?
Yeah. So some people moan that the effects aren't great in it, but I think they're perfectly fine.
Yeah.
You don't see that many things. It's got a proper
Is this-
bleak end. The ending is bleak as fuck.
Is this meant to be like a view on if people thought the world was going to end?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Because I did see a thing on...
I mean, it's got
maybe-
monsters in it.
Do you mind me? Honestly, I'd
Yeah,
love to borrow
so
that.
monsters and stuff like that. And the guy in it, Thomas Jane, he plays a painter, and he's painting Drew Struzan artwork. So Drew Struzan's famous for doing like all the Star Wars posters and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's painting Roland from the Dark Tower at the beginning of it.
Nuts. So it's another one in his universe.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Wicked.
So I've just got a few down here that I just wanted to just quickly mention. Shit. Right, so we can blast through these, but
Do you want to pass them to me? I'll hold them.
So American Werewolf in London is a great 80s horror film. Again, it's kind of got that horror but with comedy in it. So you've got the bit where he keeps meeting up with his best friend who is kind of like deteriorating the more and more you see him.
Yeah.
And when you see him at the cinema at the end, he's kind of like just like a zombie basically.
And it's got one of the best turn sequences.
That sequence is incredible. Like
I've
it
watched the
feels
making of that.
painful watching it.
Yeah. Like when you see the skin stretch, it's obviously liquid latex, but
There's a documentary on this disc that's like a feature length, and my friend worked on it. He's
Right.
a cinematographer on it, I think, and he's also now directed two Ghostbusters documentaries called.
Aren't you doing some animation for
Maybe, might do. But these documentaries are going to be amazing. This way, if this is anything to go by, he's directed these Ghostbusters one-on-one Ghostbusters 1, Ghostbusters 2. It's got everybody involved, bar Bill Murray, so everybody's in it. So
Bill Murray, sort it out.
yeah, Dan Aykroyd's in it, Ernie Hudson, Harold Ramis.
Yeah, but
rest
Dan
in peace.
Aykroyd, all he wants to do is play Ghostbusters.
Yeah, and sell his vodka. We'll get to that on another one.
Yeah.
This is great because this is almost like a kid-friendly horror film, but it's still
God, I
fucked
haven't
you up.
watched that in years, man.
It's got a creepy clown in it and a creepy little girl in it.
Creepy girls, creepy clowns. I was just going to mention when this came out though, The Wicker Man.
Fucking
Fucking hell, that was an amazing film.
Yeah, Jesus. And
I love Nicolas Cage.
I was going to do it as well. So yeah, not the Nicolas Cage version, but
the
just
Christopher Lee version.
Yeah, so
Incredible.
recommend.
You've not seen that for a while?
I haven't seen that for a while now.
I haven't seen the remake yet with Sam Rockwell, so I'm tempted to check it out. But I think they spawned a few sequels as well, and I think
totally.
I think the young girl died I think she was quite young, so quite sad. But also the dad in this is the dad from The Incredibles, Craig T. Nelson.
Well, you saying she died quite young, and this just reminded me because we mentioned The Omen earlier. Because you had all the deaths around The Omen as well, didn't you?
Oh yeah, it wasn't The Exorcist as well. No.
I think The Exorcist maybe, but I know definitely for The Omen. I think is it the second one where there's a sheet of glass or the first one? And one of the crew members actually died in an accident by having his head decapitated.
Oh really? That was a great scene actually.
Fucking.
That was one of the film. You know, I said we owned a Betamax player when we were kids.
Yeah.
We had the Omen trilogy on Betamax.
I couldn't believe I think it's the third one where he becomes a businessman.
Oh yeah,
It's genius.
Is it Sam Neill?
Yeah, and is it Pierce Brosnan?
No, it's Sam Neill. I'm sure it's Sam Neill.
Is it?
From
Okay.
Jurassic Park.
Oh yes, of course.
So this is the most recent one that I think of. Some people may argue it's not a horror film.
Oh, it's fucking twisted.
It really got to me because one, it contains punk rock, and I love punk rock.
Yeah, and it's not done in a cheesy way.
No,
Like,
and
because the
Patrick
guy's
Stewart
actually
is incredible,
he's awesome in
and
that.
you forget that he's Picard or
Yeah.
Charles Xavier, and he's an evil fuck in it.
Yeah, he's brilliant. And the guy who I've watched
Anton
loads of
Yelchin.
I watched some interviews with. It's the director, Anton. Yeah.
No, the director is Jeremy Solner. I think did Blue Ruin as well. I think he did that.
Basically, I was watching interviews with him because obviously I'm into like punk rock. You're into your punk rock stuff, and he gets it right. And he's from that background, and to see someone make a movie who's like from the same sort of place as me.
If you haven't seen this is basically a young punk rock band who are just kind of DIYing it themselves, like going around sleeping at people's houses.
That's why it rung true with me.
So I think they're doing a podcast at the beginning, almost. They're like an interview.
Yeah. But
But they go and play. They go to play this venue where they're warned not to because it's full of skinheads, and it is literally a skinhead bar.
Yeah.
And they play this Nazi punks fuck off, don't they?
Yeah.
And then they witness a murder,
Yeah.
don't they? And it just
I think the sound, what do you call it? The sound design.
yeah.
Like, 'cause there's a scene in it. Is it someone breaks a bone or someone?
Oh yeah.
What is it? And I just remembered it's like the sound on it just made me feel sick.
Yeah, it's just.
It's at the start as well. It's when the murder happens. I can't remember if it's a stabbing or
It's a shame that what happened to Anton Yelchin though, because he's the one. He got crushed by his own car.
Oh shit!
Very sad because he was a good actor, and like the remake of Fright Night that he was in was quite good. Fright Night's another wicked 80s horror
I
film.
was just about to say that's great.
And the
another
remake was
really
good.
front cover as well for Fright Night.
Oh, with the big teeth. I was
Yeah.
going to bring that with us. This is a great one. Again, I haven't watched it in a long time, but the reason why I like this one, and the reason why I watched it was because it's meant to be a big influence on Silent Hill.
I named my my dog, who's R.I.P. Jacob, after that film.
But yeah, I mean, it's a really old film now, so I think I can spoil it. But obviously, everything that happens in this film is not happened because he's dying.
Yeah.
So he's in the Vietnam War and he's dying, and his son's played by Macaulay Culkin.
Fuck. And like as he's going through that, like it's like a hospital, isn't it?
Yeah, and he keeps seeing the demons and stuff.
But like there's
that.
like effects they use in it where
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's nuts.
That's a wicked film. Jacob's Ladder.
Really, really good.
If you want good old splatter,
I haven't watched it in years, but yeah, amazing.
I'd say that's a great proper 80s, like based on H.P. Lovecraft, who again like up there with Stephen King is like the most influential.
He likes his words H.P.
Yeah,
Lovecraft,
big
doesn't
demons like Cthulhu and stuff like that. But they've never made like the big. Like, they always say they're going to make like the big H.P. Lovecraft
film,
but they never do. They always do like the smaller idea.
Well, like, have you seen the game that's coming out soon about Cthulhu?
No.
I'll send you a link. Looks.
It's not like Clive Barker's flipping Jericho.
No, that was shit.
Sorry, yeah, this is great. Like, what's his name? Who's he who plays him? It's Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffrey Combs.
He's such a great performer. He's in a great film called The Frighteners.
Yes, I remember The Frighteners.
With Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
And I love that film. It's like It's like Ghostbusters meets, I don't
Yeah.
know.
What about People Under the Stairs?
That's a good one as well.
Yeah.
It's a great one. But yeah, I haven't seen this in ages, but all I remember is there's a head lobbed off on the tray and he keeps injecting it and it comes alive again and stuff like that.
And this
My good friend James Rayner made his own version of Reanimate and he called it Angry and Moist. And it's so good.
Send me a copy.
So
we had a little bit of a. Is this a horror?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's about vampires.
But I think we were saying
It
it
straddles that teen.
So like Stand By Me, but with vampires.
Yeah.
I think that was the description.
But it does have one of the best lines in
You're
it.
eating worms, Michael.
That's a good one. No, I was going to say Death by Stereo.
Oh fuck yeah!
Yeah. Where it's a bit Home Alone, where they're in the house and they kind
That's
of like
it.
set all the booby traps up and stuff.
See, I what's his name? Oh god, he's gone a bit weird now.
Corey Feldman,
Corey Feldman, yeah.
one of the Frog Brothers.
Yeah, that's it.
Because they've made like 2 sequels to this, but
I don't think either of them's stuck.
I've not seen them.
No, I've not.
Shame Corey Feldman passed away. The 2 Corys
Yeah.
after they did film such classics as License to Drive and
Fucking hell.
stuff like that. Yeah, this is a film though that when I went around to my friend Robert Kenyon's again, would go around there when I was a lot when I was younger, and his brother's obsessed with this film. So they had posters of it on the wall and stuff like that because it all fit in with that Bon Jovi, that cop rock kind of time. They were into all that kind of stuff, and In Excess. I think In Excess is in this.
I think that's yes.
And it all went with that kind of vibe. Also, it has the sexiest sax player ever.
Fucking hell, yeah.
He's all oiled up.
I forgot about him. Bam, 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 bam.
I really like this.
You didn't like it.
I thought it was quite creepy. But the one thing I like about it is that the way I saw it was that the Babadook wasn't real. It was the mom. Like, it's all about the mom trying to deal with her fucked up kids.
I just didn't like the kid. I was just like, just give the kid away. Get it fucking... I think the kid just annoyed me. And Natalie as well. We were just going, just fuck the kid off.
I mean, this one probably is a bit dated now, but I really like Scream.
Can't stand him.
You know,
No,
the second
can't
and
stand
third one
him.
is shit.
Yeah.
But I quite like the first one.
Is Rose McGowan in that one?
Yeah, she gets crushed by...
I like that bit.
She tries to get through the cat flat. But she gets crushed by
Jesus.
the garage door.
But it was a very it's self-aware.
It was supposed to be self-aware.
Yeah, exactly.
It got even
more self-aware.
So it got a bit-
Because they did. You remember when they started doing like the take the piss movies of these?
scary movies.
I prefer them. Where there's a scene in those scary movies where there's a glory hole.
Stab the cop goes through his ear.
I think that's brilliant.
And I think this is the most splatteriest movie.
Oh fuck yeah, man!
Brain Dead, or in America it's called Dead Alive.
Yeah.
But this film's insane. Like the scene at the end where he's going around with the lawnmower.
Yes.
It's just fucking everyone up. You have zombies having sex in it.
Nice.
And they give birth to a giant baby zombie thing that he's chasing around the park. Do you remember?
I do remember that, and I mean it's Peter Jackson as well, isn't it?
And also the monkey that basically starts the infection.
Yeah.
Is meant to be on the King Kong Island. Right. So the island they're on is Skull Island.
Yeah.
Which kind of all comes full circle because Peter Jackson let him
Actually went and
made King Kong.
And if you're going to talk about that, we've got to do this.
His very first one.
I still think this just stands the test of time. I watched it the other day and it's still just...
The bit where they blow up the shit.
It's fucking genius, man.
And the van they drive round, it's
the...
got the Sgt. Pepper's Beatles. Like,
yeah. Like, I think my favourite thing in this, though, I wouldn't say my favourite, actually, is you know he's hanging over the cliff and then put the nail in the bottom of his
Just
foot.
Derek. No.
It's Derek. It's at the start, anyway. But I just remember watching that and just wincing. So yeah, I put Bad Taste in there.
I love the fact that you can tell that everybody's voice is completely dubbed over in that as well.
Yeah.
And they're the thickest New Zealand accents you'd ever have heard.
So not technically a horror film, but if you've ever watched it, you'll know how horrible it is.
It's just bleak.
With threads. And I mean, I'd put this in there with... Because I love post-apocalyptic shit. I love Fallout, etc. So this and The Road...
I was contemplating The Road, but then I thought, is it a horror or is it just horrific because it's just fucking bleak.
So I couldn't decide, so I've thrown that in. So I'm going to put The Road in as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we'll touch on like maybe do a post-apocalyptic episode because I'd love to do like Mad Max.
Oh yeah.
Fucking oh god, I've forgotten the name of them. But yeah, we'll do a post-apocalyptic episode. It'd be fun to do.
Sounds good.
But yeah, that's going to go in my horror ones because I remember watching that and it gave me fucking nightmares.
It's basically about what happens if the world's surviving a nuclear holocaust.
Yeah, but it's like a documentary.
Yeah.
I think that's 70s as well, isn't
Wasn't
it?
it like ITV or BBC? Or
Yeah, it's BBC, I think. Produced
yeah, there you go. The original BBC drama.
Yeah.
So what else you got here? What's this one?
So I've got Alien, so we joined up on that. Oh, I've just been watching these recently. I thought it'd be
Classic horror Halloween.
yeah, so this is the series off ITV. I watched the first
I did
two.
a series of it, did they?
Yeah.
Because obviously they're famous for doing
the
films.
actual proper. So I've just been watching this, and I watched one in bed last night. No, I watched two. The first one is called The House That Bled to Death.
Oh, nice.
Which was awesome, and it was basically about a house where a murder took place, and a young family moved into it. Really, really good. It's got that. I don't know if it's 70s. I think it is 70s. But it's got that 70s vibe about it. It was actually scary. And then there's another one here. Is it Peter Cushing?
They need to bring back these like
Anthology
horror. I used to love
Yeah,
watching the Tales from the Crypt Keeper.
Oh, I wanted to mention that. I'm so glad you brought that out because that was the one I used to watch. Was it on Channel 4?
Yeah, because
And
there was
like-
the films obviously, and then
Yeah.
there was, which were like anthology films, and
What
then they
was
did
the-
a series. I'm sure they did a cartoon version.
Yeah,
of
they
the
did.
kids.
Yeah,
I mean, talk about fucked up. Like
yeah, man,
it's like
nuts,
Toxic
isn't it?
Crusaders. They did like a. We'll definitely do an episode on fucked up kids cartoons.
Yeah, 90s and 80s fucked up kids cartoons, man. What was I going to
But
say?
we could just go on forever about.
Yeah, we could, to be honest. I mean, I haven't. I know I've got about 30 films.
I
stored
probably
up in the
probably
back
could
of
have
the
talked
drawer.
about Jaws for about 2 hours, and I'll still have more to say.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I think for now though, this is wrapped up.
That'll do.
That'll do, Pete. That'll do.
Well, anyway, we hope you have a horrible and disgusting Halloween.
Have a vile one.
Yeah, and don't forget to like us on
Instagram.
Facebook and Instagram.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Ask
Ask us questions. Say what you like about us. Say what you don't like about us.
Let us know you're watching. Are we just doing this to no one?
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for watching. This has been Tom and Ollie's Big Kids Club, and
3, 2, 1.